Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the organizational meeting for the Board of Education for the East Greenbush Central School District being held at 6 p.m. in the Administration Center Boardroom. We will begin with roll call attendance. If members could respond with present when I call your name. Mr. Buna?
Present.
Ms. Herron?
Present.
Mr. Marchioni?
Present.
Mr. Panache?
Present.
Ms. Phillips?
Present.
Mr. Shane?
Present.
Mr. Temple?
Present.
Ms. Turner?
Present.
Ms. Van Orden?
Present.
And our student officio student board member, Holly Thorpe.
Present.
Excellent. Also joined tonight by our interim director of human resources, Mr. Mahar, and our director of business and finance, Ms. Mulligan. Everyone could please join me and the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask for assistance from our district clerk for oath of office.
Dr. Curtis Coates, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Superintendent according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you.
We'll now continue for the oath of office for our newly elected board members.
Rob Marchioni, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Education member according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Robert Shane, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Education member according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Cindy Herron, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Education member according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Rob Panache, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the State of New York or United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of a Board of Education member according to the best of your ability?
Yes, I do.
Thank you so much. As item number 3 is next on our agenda. We simply ask all board members to review and sign the board policy 2165, our code of conduct. This is a crucial policy rooted in the best practice set forth by the New York State School Boards Association, and it's a requirement that all board members understand its contents. And similarly, the code, the acceptable use agreement is next on the agenda. This policy covers the appropriate use of the district's technology resources. As board members will have access to the district's email system, Google accounts, and other network features. You've also been issued Chromebooks to assist you in conducting your board responsibilities. And this policy outlines the stipulations for using those resources, ensuring that they are used solely for district purposes. Please review and sign to our district clerk as well. Any questions for board members? Okay, great. Next is a resolution to approve the ex officio student board member on the Board of Education and alternative ex officio student member to the board. Do I have a motion? You know? Resolved that the Board of Education of the East Greenbush Central School District hereby approves the ex officio student board member of the Board of Education and the alternate ex officio student board member to the board. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Congratulations, Holly.
Thank you.
Holly Thorpe, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the constitutions of the state of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of ex officio student school board member according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, I would like to move on to item 4A for nominations for board officers for the Board of Education for the 2025-2026 school year. And I'd like to open the floor for nominations for the position of President of the Board of Education.
I nominate Kim Turner for President of the Board of Education.
We have one nomination for Ms. Turner. Are there any other nominations? Therefore, I'd like to call for a vote to approve for Ms. Turner to be the board president for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion? Mr. Shane? Nashi? All those in favor? Any against? Any abstention? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Kim Turner, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Education President according to the best of your ability?
I will.
With that, Ms. Turner, I will gladly turn over the balance of the organization meeting over to you.
Okay, so we need to call for nominations for vice president for the 25-26 school year.
I nominate Kathy Van Orden.
Any other nominations?
Nope, sorry.
Do I have a motion? And second?
Can I second? Okay.
Robert.
Yes.
Robert. And all four? Any against? Any abstentions? Okay. Congratulations.
Catherine Van Orton, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Education Vice President according to the best of your ability?
I will.
Moving along, nominations for assistant clerk.
You can nominate me.
I can nominate.
Unless somebody else wants it.
I'd like to nominate Mike Wood. Do I have a second? I think everybody seconded. So, and all those in favor? Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Mike Buno, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Education Assistant Clerk according to the best of your ability?
And finally, nominations for deputy treasurer. This,
I nominate Samantha Phillips.
any other nominations? Do I have a second? Mike, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Sign the checks.
Samantha Phillips, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Education Deputy Treasurer according to the best of your ability? Thank you.
Moving along to the appointments of the Board of Education and approvals of district stipends. Any questions or comments? Okay, do I have a motion to approve? Mike, second. Kathy, all those in favor? Okay, appointment of impartial hearing officers for Committee on Special Education. Any questions or comments?
I just think if it's helpful, the board members understand what this role is for.
I was gonna say, if any,
Maybe Dr. Post can,
Yeah.
if there's any questions. I think it's.
Sure. So if there is a matter that is not resolved at the district level in terms of an appeal made at a CSE meeting, any parent member or representative of the parent member can file with the state of New York for what they refer to as an impartial hearing. In doing so, that is filed in Albany, and when that happens, an impartial hearing officer is appointed to resolve the matter. Hear the matter if it goes to a full hearing, but to help resolve the matter at the same time. There is a list that is on file with the state of New York, and they go literally one by one to see who would be willing to accept the matter if it gets to that point. It is very seldom, thank goodness, that happens, but when it does happen, we have to have that prepared to go.
Thank you.
so any other questions or comments?
I got a quick comment. So in those, once the request is made, we have to establish that hearing like in 24, 40. It's like a very quick turnaround
Correct.
process, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And would a parent be able to elect, if it's eligible from the list, exactly who they would like to have?
No, it has to
Okay.
be mutually
Yeah.
agreed upon between the
Okay.
district and the parent.
Interesting. All right, thank you.
I have a motion to approve. Cindy, second. Rob Panache, all those in favor? Okay. All right, moving on, appointment to committees on special education. Any comments or background or questions? Okay, can I have a motion to approve? Kathy, second. Sam, all those in favor? Appointment of election workers for district votes. Any comments, questions? Background?
No, just a thanks to all the people who volunteer, well, get paid to do this. but It's still a very fun job. But it's much appreciated by the district.
Motion to approve. Sam, a second. Mike, all those in favor? And designations. So, any questions, comments, or background on this? Okay, can I have a motion to approve? Cindy, a second. Kathy, all those in favor? Appointment of the chief emergency officer. So- Any questions, comments, or background? Motion to approve. Sam, second. Jesse, all those in favor? Okay. Authorizations. Any questions, comments, or background?
I had just asked the administration to provide some data in the future for the rates, just to make sure we're competitive. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms.
No
Mulligan-
rush.
Yeah, Ms. Mulligan and I have started looking already at those secure warehouses a lot of that data. And we're gonna look outside the region a little bit too, to make sure we get a comprehensive view of what is being paid.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sure. No rush.
Okay, motion to approve. Cindy, second. Mike, all those in favor? policy manual adoption and review. Any comments, questions, background? Okay, motion to approve. Rob Panashi, second. Kathy, all those in favor? Okay, review of district policies on investments, purchasing, and parental involvement. Any comments, questions, background? Motion to,
Can I just ask, this is just, we're just renewing the same ones, nothing's new, yeah.
Right.
I'll make that motion.
okay, Rob Panashi, a second. Kathy, all those in favor? All right, moving along. Medicaid Compliance Program, 2025 edition. Any questions, comments?
I have a quick comment, and I mentioned this last year. Like I love the idea, having a Medicaid compliance program. There's a way to get federal reimbursement dollars for the amount of expenses to, and the question will be cost benefit, right? To create the new process, like, would there be a benefit of creating how to claim that administratively? I don't know, like how does that work in New York State with schools, working with the Department of Health. But I do think that in time of fiscal, constraint, as much federal dollars as we can get. And I imagine administering a Medicaid compliance program has to be reimbursable. And I spoke about this, but so I just want to just make that comment, but it's a cost benefit, depending upon how much we could charge. But if there's a way to win some of our resources of people that participate or the education component, and how that time relate, I think it's worth looking into.
So it's not necessarily what the district can charge, it's what we can get reimbursed for. So
Yes.
you have to have an eligible number of students within your population that you have to look at the services that they receive,
Yes,
then the services that you can build back to Medicaid for.
yes,
And there's a sign off process by, excuse me, full cash of employees within the district that it has to go through to be able to get that reimbursement.
yes,
So to your point, looking at the cost benefit of we need additional staffing, how many students do we truly have eligible? We really have to dig in it and look at what those numbers look like, but absolutely trying to claim any
Yeah.
additional funding and revenue that would be possible, it's always worth looking at.
and it's like the services side and the admin time spent. So you almost could win some FTEs potentially by getting reimbursement back. So but yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, motion to approve. Rob Panashi, second. Jesse, all those in favor? Okay, procedures for post-issuance compliance with federal tax law. Any questions, comments, or background? Right, motion to approve. Mike, second. Rob Panashi, okay. All those in favor? All right. And interscholastic athletic rates. Any questions, comments, background?
Jennifer, are these contractual? Or they just established by district?
They're established by the district.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion to approve. Cindy, second. Sam, all those in favor? Okay. And that brings us to the end. And I have a motion to adjourn. Mike, second. Rob Nashi. All those in favor? All right.
Good first meeting. Press the 20 minutes. I think it's a record.
I don't have the pictures on it, so.
I like the Zoom. Just skip it.
So do we need to call to order?
You just have to say that.
Okay. All right, so 6:19, that's really quick. Okay, roll call. I mean, we still have everyone here, so. All right, so approval of draft minutes. Any questions, comments?
We're abstaining.
Yeah,
Yes, for sure.
yeah. So I think even, I was looking earlier, I think
We
we haven't,
don't have a quorum, right?
You're
We
fine.
do.
we have five.
Five of us.
Yep. So, motion to approve. Kathy, second, Sam. All those in favor?
Oh, I can't do that. I was too excited.
Opposed? And abstaining. So abstaining, we have Cindy and all three Robs. We're gonna have to come up with a way to do that. Okay, board forum, starting on my left, Kathy.
I just want to say thank you to the board and welcome to our new members and to our new superintendent.
Thank you.
I know that sometimes transition can feel a little intimidating, but can also be a great opportunity. So I'm really excited to start our new school year here together.
I'll just keep it quick. I'm excited. This is obviously new for me, but I'm looking forward to working with everybody. Dr. Coates, it's all, I think as you said too, Kathy, it's all new, but it's all exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
No, I definitely want to welcome our new leadership team, Dr. Coates, Kim, Kathy. Definitely looking forward to it. I think, we're in a unique time of transition with so much transition. And I'm definitely interested in planning ahead and trying to figure out how can we ensure a successful transition of change. So
Well, thank you for everything that you guys have done. This was a challenging year for the board that was present, and we thank you for all of your hard work. And I'm very grateful to be here. Happy to work with everybody, and congratulations on our new leadership.
Me? Holly, you want to say?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what I should say, but thank you everyone very much for welcoming me to the board, and I look forward to learning from everybody. It's great to meet everyone tonight, and yeah, I'm happy to be here and work with all of you. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just echo the welcome to the board members. Thank you for stepping up and participating in an important role in the district of board services. Difficult, challenging, but rewarding, as people said, and exciting. And glad to have a student voice on the board after many years of talking about it. And welcome Holly and her alternate William. And looking forward to working with the admin team, our new board president and vice president. Obviously, I know we have a couple of shoes to fill in terms of other roles, and look forward to those conversations in the future. So, could you just start off?
Yeah, very excited to serve. And thank you very much to everyone on the board, staff and leadership for helping with onboarding and welcoming all of us, and hope to do you all proud.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I don't see another place to do this on the agenda. So are we all set for Holly's information? And just like, this is our first time having a student member. So you're on board docs. I think we maybe just have to have at some point talk about, are you on the email list? I think there was an email about access, and we should just probably work through that a little bit.
Okay.
And maybe William too, just so that you've got a good backup. And
I can
yeah.
relay the message.
And again, thank you everyone for helping us get up to speed. Dr. Coates, welcome, and I too look forward to working with everybody.
And I was going to say this earlier and completely forgot, but I just want to thank everybody for their support. Welcome to our new superintendent and all the new board members. And I look forward to working with everybody. And I also want to give a thank you to all of our former board members, because we wouldn't be where we are today without them. So I want to thank them for their service over the past. And excited to have a student. I think I'm looking forward to a good year.
Thank you.
Public forum. All right. Residents, students, employees, and business representatives of the East Greenbush Central School District may address the board on matters concerning programs and/or operations of the district, other than matters involving personnel, members of the board do not directly respond to citizen concerns during the public forum. If a response is appropriate, either the president or superintendent will contact the individual in the near future. Those persons wishing to address the board will be recognized by the chair of the meeting and should state for the record their name and address or affiliation with the district or business. While the board does not wish to infringe upon free speech protections, it must be stressed that the visitors forum is not deemed to be an open forum. The board president will conduct the forum for the orderly and efficient operation of board business. In addition, any remarks which may be considered defamatory or stigmatizing are prohibited and will be declared out of order. All comment shall be limited to 5 minutes. Do we have anybody?
Stand up, chair.
Sit here.
That's okay, Rob. Thank you. Hi, Dan Wagner. I live at 2 Johnny Place, East Greenbush, and I am EGTA president. I just wanted to say welcome to so many new people on the board. Exciting to see some new faces. Welcome to Holly. You made a great choice in choosing Holly to be the ex officio, and a really great big welcome to Dr. Coates, to our wonderful school district. Our union is really excited to work with all of you to collaborate and make this district the best as it already is, and to really be at the benefit of all of our students. So thank you very much.
Any of that? Okay. Discussion items. East Greenbush Central School District wide safety plan.
So as is required by the state of New York, we have to open a 30-day window for public comment on our district safety plan. From last year, there is one minor update. Ms. Mulligan, do you mind just sharing the one addendum or the one change in terms of contract? items
Oh,
on
yes. Yep. We are currently renewing our SRO agreements for the new year. So they expired as of June 30th. So there's just a slight revision indicating that they're in process, and they'll be appended to the safety plan upon final approval, which we are anticipating will be later this summer.
So this window will stay open for 30 days until approximately the second board meeting in August, at which time we will need to hold a public hearing. At that public hearing, community members can make comments on the plan. The board can elect to leave the plan as is or make any modifications that may be recommended. At that point, you have to adopt the plan to prepare for the new school year. Additionally, we will plan for our safety meetings with our safety team. Procedural items that exist within the plan. Obviously, there's procedural items that are behind the scenes that are not part of the public facing document that we have to review. Obviously, those are not intended for public consumption. In the event of a real emergency, we don't want that out where anyone with nefarious act could take bad action against school district or students or staff. But the second board meeting is the benchmark for that, for us to be able to adopt for the new school year. But there, besides that one contractual piece, there have been no other substantive updates to the plan from last.
Any questions? Comment? Moving on to regular business. Approval of programs for resident children with disabilities. Any questions, comments, background? Okay, can I have a motion to approve? Jesse, a second. Kathy, all those in favor? Okay, employment agreement with Jeffrey Simons, interim assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction. Any questions, comments?
I have a quick comment. I think it's great bringing Mr. Simons on as a assistant superintendent. It's a need that we have here in the district. And we also get to help, utilize, Jeff's experience in helping Dr. Coates, who is 100% capable of doing it independently. But, two heads is always better than one, and having that experience and transition, I think, is very helpful in filling needs of the district. So I'm glad to see Mr. Simons in this appointment agreement.
It's okay if I answer.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Temple, for that. In transition, just having that background, institutional knowledge from the person that served in the position for so long will be incredibly helpful. A couple of other side notes to that. Number one, this is a very temporary agreement.
Yep.
We have already started the process. In fact, we have interviews set up this week for the permanent replacement for the assistant superintendent for curriculum. We're looking forward to the number of candidates that we're going to be able to screen. The goal is to have someone prepared to be appointed by the Board of Education, hopefully at the first meeting in August. We're intending to move the process along quickly. But again, Mr. Simons being here on a temporary basis will help with all of the summer data reporting, any of the fiscal requirements for grant writing that come through and partner with the Director of Business Operations. It's an essential position to have filled, and having someone with the institutional knowledge, the background, the expertise will certainly be helpful, not only to me, but to the district as a whole.
Any other questions, or comments? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve? Rob Marchiori, a second, Sam, and all those in favor? All right, copier, multi-function copier lease. This is a new one to me. Any questions or comments? Any background? Okay. Motion to approve? Mike, second. Kathy, all those in favor? Okay, proposed change in policy, second reading of policy number 5695, students and personal electronic devices.
So as everyone is likely aware, under the last budget agreement that was passed by the governor and the legislature, included what we have affectionately termed a cell phone ban now in all public school districts in New York State. There was a collaborative committee inclusive of students, families, board members, staff, really that reviewed the best practice that would apply for our school district. This policy is in conjunction not only with the review of that committee, but also in conjunction with the law. It will include at the high school level the use of what are referred to as the yonder pouches. The yonder pouches are a magnetically locked bag, so that when a student enters the building, it seals their phone in the bag for the balance of the day. There are certain checkpoints, if you will, where in an emergent situation, the bag can be open, or those with medical needs or any other IEP-driven needs. There are exceptions to that can be addressed in the policy as well. But there was a great stakeholder committee that really reviewed all of these items. I've been able to go through all those notes and some of the videos that I saw. I think we're well prepared to deal with this. I think it will be a difficult transition. I want to be transparent about that. I think that for many, I don't want to call it addiction, but to say, oh, let me see what time it is, and we all do it. You know, let's pull our phones out and look, especially for our students, that will be a great challenge. And from our staff, we're going to really push them to model well for our students at the same time, which I'm confident that they will. But this will help us to be in compliance with the law and to be able to move forward with it. What I think we can all agree will be a healthier learning environment for our students, and that's really what's most important to focus on.
So a comment too, I want to thank the students who were involved. I think they did a great presentation at the last meeting, and, you know, just for Holly, I think this made a good opportunity to kind of make a segue into, you know, giving the board feedback on what you're hearing and how things are going in terms of things like that, that are really directly impacting students and staff. So at some point in the future, it'd be great to kind of get some feedback from you from a student perspective.
Oh, I can do that.
So thank you.
I have a quick comment, and I definitely agree with Mike. I definitely was thinking, don't want to put you on the spot, day one.
Years ago, maybe.
But no, so I definitely love the idea of student perspective. I did have a concern, and when I say concern, it might be too strong of a word. I'm definitely confident in the work that the team did on this. I definitely echo your comments, like with the notes, the thoroughness, the student engagement piece. I do worry about 5 warnings. You know, I think that, you know, and when I say this, it's like I just sometimes worry when we say that a student is going to be told 5 times, right? That our community, that our parents may feel that we have a aspect of coddling, you know, and I also would be one, like I don't mean to say it in that fashion, but I worry about that 5 times. And then by the time something happens, it's like, well, but you gave them 5 warnings. And then, you know, and I think there's ways to even implement our steps of a 5-step process where, to me, just 5 warnings just sound like a bit much on the surface. Also, confiscating the cell phones. I know we spoke about the administrator's relationship with the parents. None of our schools are bus accessible. So I really would love to hear more. I don't like the idea of it being principally admin focused. I like it kind of being admin parent partnership focused in the policy, not, talk outside of the policy. But that's just my perspective. I think there's a lot of needs, whether it's time restraints, whether it's transportation, right? Like no matter what it is, and some of those things just on a school basis and admin implementing policy, you just don't get. And that's my concern. So those two pieces, 5 warnings, I think is a bit much, even from optics, so even if we, but that's my opinion.
So,
I think all those are very valid points, and having the perspective of going through this process in 2 different school districts.
Yeah.
There is not going to be any perfect solution in the first go around. I'm quite confident that come the beginning of the new school year, we're going to be reviewing and probably making modifications, whether it's to the 5 warnings, whether it's to the yonder pouches, whether it's to collecting cell phones. There will be modifications to this policy because right now it's brand new. And this is going to be trial and error, but all of your points are very important. Very well taken.
And also, I think maybe we need to kind of update the wording, but it's not really 5 warnings because consequences kick in immediately. So on the first, they go to administration, it's documented. On the second, it's confiscated until the end of the school day. So it's not 5 kind of freebies. And some pretty substantial consequences do start kicking in. I mean, I would say having it confiscated till the end of the school day, I think most students would see as pretty substantial on number 2. So maybe we need to adjust the wording a little bit, just so it doesn't give that perception that it's 5 kind of warnings versus a tiered system of
The policy
consequences.
does say occurrence.
It says offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just speaking from, I will be extremely annoyed if I have to go to school on that third, not from the administrator, from my daughter's perspective. I go pick up her cell phone, right? So the third offense, is not a warning. That would really, that's good, right? So I think the first one's a freebie. Second, this is just me asking, and it's more ignorance. What do you mean about there is no bus, right? So no public bus. What would you need the phone for busing purposes?
So it's just about if you get to number 3, where you said a parent has to pick it up, all parents don't have transportation.
Okay, so it's a parent. Okay, yeah. Okay, fine. I got you.
Community
I got you.
equity
I got
and
you.
just being.
Yeah, no, it was more, I was thinking what the kid would need it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
And I know Principal Harkin addressed that as like
Yes.
incredible flexibility, but it is
Yeah.
still in the policy, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Just the other piece to keep in mind on consequences as well, the language of the law is very clear. That discipline can't be based upon a cell phone infraction. So us talking about consequences related to the behavior, that's a very fine line. So between, they just have to be mindful of, that's all.
I would just think as we move forward, just have the appropriate form, should these feedback go into the policy committee and recommendations. So just making sure that things flow in the right direction, because we don't want to be taking up a lot of meeting time to discuss different issues. So I think just having that protocol of how things flow, if there are questions and concerns as we process this with the students and parents.
I had a question about the process and what you learned in investigating about the special education piece. If there's an influx of families who then refer or want to refer children to special ed, for conditions that they would need their phone, mental health, things like that. And I wondered whether other schools saw an influx and how we're going to monitor that here so that the department doesn't get overwhelmed.
So those that were closer to the committee than I want to take.
So we did discuss that. And I'm not sure, I was not able to attend the trip to Bethlehem and Troy, but I know that you both were able to go. And I know that was discussed with administration there. So are we able to invite Kate and Dan to speak to that? Or, I mean, we basically decided that we are going to have our school physician, Dr. Albert, review any requests. There is paperwork that needs to be submitted and everything to make sure that we're being consistent across the board. The feeling from the other schools was that they were pretty strict, if I recall what you said about this, that they really weren't allowing exceptions. And that seemed to have been pretty successful for them. Most of the exceptions we were really looking at were insulin pumps that connect to a phone. I mean, clearly that student needs access to that phone, but all of it will be reviewed. The paperwork from the student physician will be reviewed by Dr. Alberts to make sure that we have a consistent set of eyes on that as well. And I know we had discussed for those students who do have that exemption, they will still be given a pouch that will have the magnet removed so that they will not appear different from their peers. So for all intents and purposes, their phone is in that pouch so that, you know, if they want to keep their situation to themselves, we will support that.
So I think in essence, though, what I think you were asking procedurally, we're going to try to handle this as a matter of procedure under the policy rather than an influx of referrals to CSE for students to be able to have their cell phones.
Thank you.
Can I just follow up on something that Mike said about the policy committee? And I think when we, like, just more of my own education and maybe for our new members, when there is a new policy, what is sort of do we do a end of the year review, like a 6-month review? How does that work? I think this is a pretty big change, so.
So the board will have the board will have an appointed policy committee.
Yeah.
You'll set a schedule for meetings. The policy committee will review any updates that either come from the NISBA policy service or anything that comes from legal counsel or that may be required by law, such as cell phone policy. Once the policy committee reviews that with any recommended language, it comes to the board for a first read. After the first read, you'll have a second read, and then you'll have an adoption of policy. But the basic deliberation of any changes to that policy, to Mr. Buna's point, really happens within the policy committee and not typically here.
But the idea is that the policy comes up with a board recommendation, right? And then at the readings, the board is to give feedback for revising the policy, like to kind of, yeah. So it's like a you know, symbiotic.
But your policy committee typically handles the majority of that work.
The bulk of the work.
Yeah, and that I'm comfortable with. It's like, but it sounds like it's initiated by NISBA, New York State law, but can we just initiate an independent review of a new policy like at the end of this school year
So typically your policy committee meets intermittently throughout the year.
to decide what to revisit? Okay.
Well, you want to regularly review all of your policy. You don't want to leave it so it becomes stale, if you will, because there are so many things that change on a regular basis. That recommendation, yes, comes from the policy service that you typically subscribe to. On top of that, there's going to be localized issues. So many times a facilities policy is very localized to a school district because you're going to decide rates that you charge, who can use what, when.
Right.
But I'll call them your protocol policies. Those will really come from the policy service that when your policy committee meets, reviews, makes recommendations, it stays the same. And then, like I said, it comes back to the regular board table for first read and then second read for that.
We could suggest that the board get a report from the high school or something at some point, 6 months from now, and then, or, you know, as they work through the policy committee, feedback flows into the policy committee, and then any board input happens, and then we can just make sure. But I think I was going to suggest a report at some point down the road, you know, just to kind of get a sense how things are all on the right track, that kind of thing. So whatever your experience dictates, Dr. Coates, helpful. It's a pretty hot topic.
Absolutely.
And if I'm understanding correctly, I think the state is going to require us to report.
So we will have to, at the end of the year, post any data collected and discipline related to anything that's happened with cell phones. Yes, that's correct. And it has to go on the website as well.
Right. So we'll have that data. We're already going to be drawing that data
Correct.
to consider.
Any other
Everybody
comments or
calls this
questions?
policy. I just want to make sure because it seems like there's some questions. Are we under a mandated deadline to get this approved by date?
Can I just ask you before you do that?
Yeah.
Is this considered the final read?
It is.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine. That's what I was wondering.
We can modify it.
So there's no reason at any time that you can't bring it back again. Correct.
I just wanted to echo what Michael said at the beginning and just thank the committee that worked on this. I was in the audience at the time, a board member elect, but the work of the faculty, the students, all of the committee members, I was really impressed by the research, the site visits to other schools, even with the Yonder pouches, like finding out the longevity of these before we invest in them, not just what the manufacturer says, but what has actually happened. So it was really impressive research and due diligence, and thank you to everyone that participated in that. So.
And I want to thank especially the students on the committee. They made a big time commitment, and in our last meeting before the board presentation, I was the one who turned to them and said, you are the ones who are presenting, not the adults. And I'm so happy how well they embrace that and everything, because it really, truly, this is their project. And I wanted them to bring it to us.
Anyone else? Okay, can I have a motion to approve? Robert Shane, second. Kathy, all those in favor? Revised MOU for the EGTA retirement incentive. Ready? Nothing to discuss with this one? Questions, comments? Okay, motion to approve. Mike, second. Jesse, all those in favor? All right. Do we have any tabled motions? Nope. Any old business?
I just have one thing, and I should have brought this up with Dr. Coast, but the board retreat, are we finalized on the date?
I was gonna bring that up.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you had reports and presentation here, so. No, could you fill us in if that's okay?
So we were struggling with dates between
Yeah,
the
yeah,
board
yeah.
schedule and the administrative schedule. We were looking specifically at the 25th, and the 26th now is really the best option. And I wanted to just verify before we started to lock things in that that's going to work best. I know there was no perfect combination of days, but it
Sure.
seemed like this was the best combination of days.
August, right?
What's it?
August.
Yes, August 25th and 26th, Monday and Tuesday. Yeah.
And what time was that? That's a day?
We will start at 9 a.m.
But
And I-
that
and only-
goes- our piece will only be August 25th.
Correct. Correct. I would only ask the board to come on the 25th.
Through like 3 o'clock? 2:30, so I put it
Probably
off.
about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And if it's an incentive, we intend to have food. so.
Depends on where. Okay.
There's a
but
budget function.
Is there like, you're developing the agenda with Kimberly or for the board component, you think, or what are you
Yes,
thinking of that for?
now that we're solidified the date, we'll sit down. and
Okay.
work on the agenda.
If there's some suggestions, would we like for myself, I have a couple ideas I'd like to flow through Kimberly. If that's how you want to do it. Does that
Great.
sound good?
And I had an opportunity to open the conversation with Mr. Temple. Signed back before, but we'll continue that with the new board leadership now. Date solidified.
Excellent. That sounds good. Thank you.
Is it possible to have, I'll do my best to be there in person, but is it possible to have a Zoom option so we can maybe join for certain sessions?
Absolutely.
That would be great. Thanks.
Okay, moving along to the consent agenda. Any questions, comments? Okay, motion to approve. Cindy, second. Kathy, all those in favor?
Just a congratulations to some of the retirees that were on there, some longstanding teachers and staff. You know, and thanks for their service and appreciate it and wish them well.
Okay. I see no addendum. Any new business? Second public forum.
Dan Wagner, 2 Johnny Place, East Greenbush, EGTA president. I just didn't want to say anything unless the MOU was approved. I want to congratulate Renee Sini on her retirement. I worked with Renee for a long while. A great, wonderful woman. And I want to give an even bigger congratulations to Chris Ciccone. Chris has been a great unionist, a chief negotiator, served in our military, served the district so well, has been an amazing educator, softball coach. I can go on and on. It's a real loss to lose Chris, but I also understand, he's paid his dues. So congratulations to both of those, and thank you.
Board forum. Let's start on the right this time. Rob, any?
I have nothing, Kim.
Nothing, thanks.
All right. And executive session, I think we do have a new. Okay. And I think we have to say why do we, okay, so executive session for a legal matter. Do I have a motion?
No more business afterwards. Will be included.
No, as far as I know, no.
No action.
No action.
Motion to go into executive session.
Rob Panache, second. Mike, and all in favor?
Have a great night, Holly. Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you. Oh, you should
It was waiting in the books.
Thanks. Yes, I'm so excited.